Good morning, everybody. Well, I'm back. We did a review yesterday of the first part of the Michael Dunn police interview. We're going to continue with that today. Wife is out, have a bit of time, so I thought I would pick up where we left off yesterday, where we left off yesterday was the point the police were starting to turn the screws a bit. And I think Michael Dunn was realizing all of the shit that he's given as an excuse, as a reason as to why he's made the decisions he has, are absolutely bullshit, or at least that's how it's sounding. And I was thinking about this yesterday when I went live yesterday. It's we have a fairly young channel, and Dixon and I like to share our views on things. And I think with this, I really like the idea of having a conversation and not just focusing on whether they are innocent really or not, which that could come into the conversation for other cases. But it's more of a, how did things get to this point? And with this case, I really found it an interesting, example of the conversation surrounding more guns make things safer. And Michael Dunn was always the example of that person who may come across as responsible, doing the right things, but being put in a position made a really bad choice. Now, whether that's down to prejudices or down to stupidity, that's something we can discuss. But hopefully we're okay. I'm going to, let me just double check the mic is working, because I don't want it to not work. Sorry about that. Let me just double check. Yeah, we seem to be okay. Yep. Okay, so no, we're okay. Sorry about that technical difficulty. So yeah, where we left off, the police returning the screws, and what I was saying was, I think it's just a good chance for us to discuss not so much whether he is or is not guilty, but discuss, how did this come to pass? Is this something that could have been prevented? And I find it an interesting case. There's another one that I want to do, Michael Drage, after this one, where again, it's a similar situation where it was a mini mart shooting, or I don't know if it was a gas station shooting. I think the rule of thumb here now is the next time I go to America, I'm not going to go to any gas stations. Just avoid them. Seems like a dangerous place, especially in Florida. So yeah, why don't we pick up where we left off? I'm just going to make sure that I've shared everything correctly. I believe I have. Let me try again. Just want to make sure, because we had a bit of an issue. I want it to be working fine. Yep. Boom. All right. Let's go.
What's he gonna? Oh, I'm gonna kill you and get out of a car. And we're talking about a kid. You know how many times that kid's been to jail? Never. He has no history of violence, and it's not like we're getting some street
thug. Has is a truancy in school.
We're not talking about a violent kid here. He has no track record. There are guys in Jacksonville I'd go, okay, I believe that, because they got track records. This kid ain't got no track record. The kid sitting next to him doesn't have a track record. The kid sitting in front of him doesn't have a track record. None of them do. The driver's got a little bit. Stole a car when he was younger. That's it. These aren't violent guys. They pull up so the driver can run in and buy cigarettes. It's the only reason they're even there. They just got back from going to the mall. That's it. So I have a hard time buying how I can totally see him talking shit to you. I can see that. But to take it to a level that he's threatening to end your life when he can't. There's no way he can. He doesn't have anything.
I didn't know that.
I know.
That's all the reason that you're not knowing that is all the reason why you took your next step too far.
Yeah, the problem is you went from 0 to 100 without ever getting to 50.
I have a guy very irate saying he wants me dead. When the other guys aren't corroborating, I'm sorry, but
and understand too, there's people in the parking lot that can hear what's going on too.
Not one of them. We have what's called independent witnesses.
Yeah, not associated.
I understand. I wasn't sure that I heard him right. That's why I are you,
Mhm.
is this directed towards me? You're going to kill me?
And that happens to be an exact quote.
Oopsie. Oops. Misheard. Accidentally shot you. My bad.
Of, are you talking to me? That was an exact quote. Guys with the truck said. He said something to the effect of, are you talking to me?
Yes.
So that's dead on. Yeah, he was talking to you. He's basically telling you to go fuck yourself, and I'm going to turn the music back up.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, so your subjective point of view on the intention gives you every right to shoot somebody and kill them. And it's not as if it was a warning shot or you know he brandished the gun to back off the the person he felt threatened by. He shot 9, was it 9 times at the car? 9 times? Just to be sure.
The music was already up, and he's talking, kill the guy.
I just can't understand, if the music is up to the point where you're asking them to turn it down, how can you also hear the conversation that they're having? It's not making any sense.
It's a good point.
He's not talking, he's yelling. And my window's up and I can hear him. I'm not making out all the words, but then I hear,
This isn't helping him.
kill that son of a bitch, or kill that motherfucker, I think is what he was saying.
And this is why every lawyer or solicitor will say, get a lawyer at this position. He's just giving information. And I'm glad he is, because he's an idiot. He deserves to go to jail. But it makes it easier to put him in jail when you're getting his unfiltered thoughts coming out to the police, as opposed to having a solicitor or lawyer help build that narrative, which I watched about 10 minutes of his I guess, cross-examination at trial. And it was very, I guess, well rehearsed. It was very, there was a lot of assistance he was given as far as building that narrative and tidying it up.
How do you know it was him saying it?
Well, when I put the window down and I asked him, he said the same thing. Yeah, kill a motherfucker. And then when he was opening his door, that's when he said, "You're dead, bitch." And, when you say he didn't have a weapon, he's on the ground, and you put something up on the thing and then gets out. I thought it was a shotgun. Or a stick, or, some kind of weapon, but he's confrontational and using words like, "I'm going to kill you and you're dead."
Yeah, that's stick. That's stick versus the gun. That's where, he's even saying there's a stick, not a gun. Therefore, I shot him 9 times. This is my justification.
And I didn't know he was 17. I thought he was a full-grown man. I thought they all were. And in my mind, they're all going to get out of this truck and shoot me or beat me.
If had that been the case, we would have a different argument. Had anyone been out of the truck, walking towards you in any type of threatening manner, we would have
we were parked right next to each other.
Yes.
I know you were.
There was no walking. It was him getting out, and he was an arm reach from me.
But here, those cars are so close to each other, though. Him getting out, it's going to be hard for him to get out because he's back away from you. His door opens up. He's actually going to be shielding himself from where you are because you're closer up to the driver.
All these things you're saying are great.
You could see him actually imagining or reimagining what they're saying, and you can see in his mind he's trying to balance that against what he's just said. So I've said they're really close. Yes, if he's in the back seat and the cars are parked close, he's gonna have to move away before he comes closer, and you can see him processing that in comparison to what he said.
But I didn't analyze all these things. I got the shit scared out of me.
Oh, no.
And some guy's coming at me, telling me what he's gonna do or wants to do. I reacted. I'm sitting here telling you guys I was in fear for my life.
Such a hero.
I honestly was. I have so much going on in my personal life. The last thing I want to do is be in trouble. I don't want to cause you guys a sleepless night. I don't want to lose my freedom.
This is what we do. Don't worry about that. This is what we do.
Well, I mean, the last thing I'm looking for is trouble. the last thing. I mean,
You don't think
I have
it's like
lawn.
asking someone to turn their music down in a public place?
Absolutely, that was stupid of me. Around here, I don't think
If you do process and elimination, had you not done that, then we wouldn't be here today, right? Just young kids
Absolutely.
running around.
Absolutely.
Do you think you overreacted?
Well,
So this is where, if he says yes, that's pretty damaging. So he's admitted to overreacting and making decisions. So when you admit to overreacting, I think you're pretty much admitting to, you're admitting that you didn't take on any rational thought in your decision-making process to fire 9 bullets into their car because their music was too loud, or according to him, because he was being attacked.
I think
So if I was his lawyer, I would be hoping he wouldn't. I'm not a lawyer, but if I was his lawyer, I would expect that they're hoping he doesn't answer this question.
I think I got the shit scared out of me a little bit, and if we want to say because somebody's dead, hell yes, that was.
Well, no, not even somebody who's dead. Let's say nobody even gets hit. You think you overreacted? What if you just hit the car a bunch of times and they drove off with a bunch of bullet holes in their car?
Sir, from where I was sitting, a shotgun was coming up at me, and so I don't want to sound like an asshole, but if it happened again tomorrow where a shotgun was coming up, I think I would do the same. I hope I would
And you know what,
not be
Mr.
afraid
Dunn?
to do the same.
If there was a shotgun coming up at you, we would expect you to do what you did. The problem that we have is that there is no shotgun. That's the bridge that we got to get across. You keep dwelling on the shotgun as if there was one at the scene. If there was a shotgun, a BB gun, any type of gun at the scene. Hell, if it was a water gun that was black, that looked real at the scene.
Like I said, it was a barrel.
I bet, and again, I'm no lawyer, but I bet a water gun versus nothing probably saves him, the better part of 30 years in prison.
Than just a stick, but I mean, it was.
Could it have been your imagination?
It's certain. Well, no.
He caught himself. It certainly could have been my imagination. And the reason I think he was going to say that is because that's the only logical explanation. But he doesn't want to admit to that.
I mean, anything's possible, I guess, but him coming out of his car was not my imagination.
Okay.
And it was right after I saw that he started coming out of his car and saying, "You're dead, bitch."
When you went, grabbed your gun, racked it, and came back around, what were you shooting at? Did you acquire a target or did you just start shooting?
I shot at the door.
Which door?
The rear passenger.
You shot at his door?
Yes.
Okay.
What was the purpose of that?
Saved my life?
From the door?
No, he was coming out of his door, and I guess he went back in it, but that's where he was.
Let's just say,
Prior.
hypothetically, you and him exchange words. He opened the door to go in the store to use the bathroom.
He wouldn't have said, "You're dead, bitch," and then
I'd be curious to see if he actually. This is no way to corroborate this, and I think even his friends in the car were saying he was jawing at him pretty good. Whether he said "you're dead, bitch," I don't know. I have a feeling that it wasn't said to that degree. He seems to have latched onto it. He very well could have, but I'd be very curious to hear what he actually was saying. I wish there was a recording of that.
I'm just saying.
well, then I guess I would be in trouble if that was the case.
Yes,
But
you are in trouble.
That's not what happened.
And
Yes, sir.
she's in the store the whole time.
Yes, sir.
So she's not privy to any of this. She doesn't
No,
see any of this.
She is livid.
She's basically standing at the counter, and all of a sudden she starts hearing gunshots.
It's interesting. She is livid. So I'm guessing he's referring to the drive back.
Okay.
So many gunshots and she leaves the wine on the counter.
Yeah, paid for it, and left the wine and chips. Didn't even take it with her. Because at that point, and is going out the door, going something, basically calling your name.
She said that the first volley they heard, and then when I got out of the car, they said, "Oh, it's the guy in the black car," and she thought it was me, and you know, she told me this later. She goes, "I was telling them it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I know that
there's
guy.
not a, you guys are safe."
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn he was just about to say, it's okay, he's not a black guy. I could have sworn he was going to say that.
And she thought it was me, and you know, she told me this later. She goes, "I was telling them it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I know that
there's
guy.
not a."
Maybe. Don't worry. It's not one of those black guys.
You guys are safe.
Mm-hmm.
And this is funny. So don't worry. I know the guy shooting bullets all over your car park or your parking lot. It's safe. I know him. It's okay. He knows what he's doing.
One guys were safe. It definitely wasn't the guys in the truck.
Well, the people inside the store.
Oh yeah.
I feel really bad about the boys in the truck. You guys, I really do. If I could,
And let me, I'll let you in just from doing our investigation. We are so lucky. Really, there should be 3 of those 4 should have been hit. 3 of those 4. You could have 3 dead guys right now. Okay. Luckily for the guy in the front seat, his door stopped the bullets. They entered the door, but they didn't go all the way in because the front door's got bullet holes in it. Okay.
I wonder if he fired at the car, not intending to murder, but to scare him. And he, for some reason, thought the door would stop a bullet at close range, which is stupid. But I wonder if maybe he's watched too many Lethal Weapon 1 too many times.
And there's another one you shot when you were doing the suppression fire, basically, to keep their heads down as they're driving away. You put one in the back of the car. There's several shots directly into the rear of the truck. And one of them comes zinging in through the back and goes right up and hits the sun visor where the driver is as he's driving out. Didn't miss his noggin by much. You know, so we could very easily have 3 victims at this point. Luckily, those guys didn't get hit or any way, shape, but they're all fine.
And I think that's interesting because he made the point earlier that he was just shooting at the aggressor, and you know the outcome of his actions are, he eventually shot at pretty much everybody in the car. So any argument that he was trying to mitigate the single aggressor is kind of null and void because he shot at everybody in the car.
Except for the poor guy who's pretty much was dead right there. It didn't take him long. He was gone. It's, you know, and I'm just letting you know, we're just, and like I said, we see a lot of scenarios, and we deal with threatening situations. I mean, it's not, you know, we deal with them all the time where somebody defends themselves. I mean, we do. And there are clear-cut cases where you go,
of course.
Yep, sure did, buddy. You know, you defended yourself. Have a nice day. You know.
But you're still here.
Let me be the first to tell you.
This ain't one of them.
Not one of them.
You are
Unfortunately,
fucked.
this is not one of them. Okay, because unfortunately, we have between the witnesses and we even, yeah, they're friends of the guy in there, but they've got their perception of what's going on. But there's other people there who fill in blanks for us, who are independent. And we haven't had anybody even hint to us that one was getting out of the car, 2, that anybody heard any actual physical threats to anybody. There are some F-bombs getting dropped.
And kill that motherfucker. I mean, did they concentrate on the F-bomb and miss out on the verb?
I'm just telling you what people tell us. We ask them, what did you hear? Because I show up at a scene and I don't know anything about what happened.
I bet this guy is really insufferable when he's not being interviewed by the police. I bet he's a real arrogant piece of work. That's my guess.
We just start going, what did you see? What did you hear?
Mm-hmm.
What did you see? What did you hear? Because you might hear something different. You might hear something different, see something different. You know, everybody sees things through their own little, and believe me, we've done this long enough that other witnesses see things, can see the same thing, and totally get it wrong. You know, two different stories when you get it from them. That's why we try to talk to everybody else.
Sure.
Give me a break real quick. I want to check my photographs and see if I can find what that is you're talking about, so I can show you and see if you can remember what it is that you think you saw him with. Okay, because I got some photographs from in the car. I want to see if that's good with you. If we can try to figure out what it is you saw, so at least we're not guessing. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I'm asking you, man.
I'm not real good with gore.
Oh no. I'm not showing you any pictures like that. I'm not showing you any pictures like that. No. I'm just simply showing you things that are in the truck. No gore, no nothing like that. Okay, I'm not gonna. I don't do.
He was afraid to see the consequences of his actions. Is what that is. So happy to fire bullets into a car, but he doesn't want to see what happens if they hit anybody.
I'm not going to throw pictures of guys, the victim in front of you. It's not my style. Okay, I'm not here for that. But you're telling me you see something in the back. I'm just trying to see if I can figure out what it is you saw.
What I saw came up on, like, where his windows down, come up like this.
Okay.
Maybe sticking up like that. And their window's taller than mine. I can't see
They're a little above
the
you.
barrel, but it was something he picked up off the floor and set there. However, and then he was getting out.
Okay. Well, look, let me find it, and then that way we can clear up exactly what it is. So that way we're not guessing what we're talking about.
I'm not feeling so hot now that you guys are.
Unfortunately, we have that effect sometimes.
Well, I don't mean sick. I mean, I actually am starting to be sick in my stomach. I don't know how I can express to you guys that I was in fear for my life. Okay. I've never been so scared in my whole life.
He's realizing that there is no argument he can make right now that makes this look okay, that allows him to walk home or, head home and have a bottle of wine with his fiance. He's now in a position where he is stuck because of the decisions he's made. And he's just grasping at this. I felt threatened, with the view that this is, his intentions are good enough, and they're not, because somebody's dead. And this is what happens when you play with guns. And this isn't a commentary on whether guns are good or guns are bad, or whether we should be allowed to have handguns. However, when you use a gun, you have to be prepared that the decision you are making, you are prepared for whatever that outcome is. He was not. And if you're in a position where you have to use a gun, you don't have a lot of time to assess that. And people that are better trained don't need to spend as much time litigating that in their mind. They're trained to know. And it's not something you can just read a book or go on a 3-hour course for. There's people in the military that train, for months to be able to make those decisions. I can't imagine in Florida to get a concealed carry license, you have to do much. In fact, I'm going to let this play. I'm going to just see what it takes to get a concealed carry permit in Florida.
I've been mad and my hands shake, but I was so afraid that I didn't have time to think. I only reacted, and I don't know how to.
And understand what I'm saying to you. I'm not there. Okay. You tell me that's what you're feeling. Okay. I take what you're telling me, but I also have to go with what the physical evidence of the scene tells me, and what other people tell me, because they interpret things differently also. Okay. Earlier you said that, the last thing you needed right now is to get in trouble. With what's going on with your life that...
Oh, no, my life is great. That's great. What I'm got a place on the beach. I got a great job. I got a great girl. We just got a little puppy. I mean, I've got great friends. Okay. everything to look forward to,
Mm-hmm.
and there was nothing that would make me want to jeopardize that.
Okay.
This is the reality, and I don't feel for him because he killed somebody. However, it's a sad state of affairs for him, because he's realizing how much is now at stake. It's not just, it's not just a ticket, or he is in deep shit. So you made the decision. You got to live with it.
There's no reason to want to even attempt to jeopardize what I have.
Okay.
Were you angry last night when all this happened?
Not at all. I just left my son's, my firstborn's wedding. We were in a great mood. We were gonna get a bottle of wine and go drinking in the room.
Were you drinking at the wedding at all?
I had a toast and rum and coke
Okay.
with the meal,
All right.
but I wasn't drinking, if that's what you meant.
No.
So interesting. Here, let's share this. So eligibility requirements for a Florida concealed weapons license. You must be 21. Okay. You must be able to demonstrate competency with a firearm. So I would imagine that's some sort of a course or some sort of a test, which I think that's good. You need to show that you know how to use it. You're not going to shoot yourself in the foot or accidentally shoot somebody else. Possibilities. So that that is pretty much the prerequisite. Unless you are serving overseas in the United States Armed Forces, you must currently reside in the United States and be a U.S. citizen or deemed lawful permanent resident alien by Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Citizen Immigration Services. So I don't believe I qualify because I actually reside out of country. So possible reasons for ineligibility: physically, sorry, I can't read this morning. Physical inability to handle a firearm, great. Felony conviction, yeah. Having adjudication withheld or sentence suspended on a felony or misdemeanor crime of violence unless 3 years have elapsed since probation. So you can beat the fuck out of somebody, and as long as it's been 3 years or more, I think you're fine. Unless you've had a felony conviction. A conviction for a misdemeanor crime or violence in the last 3 years. A conviction of violation of controlled substance laws or multiple arrests for such offenses. So conviction for violation of controlled substance laws. So I wonder if you get busted for weed, which I've never met anybody who's high, who's ever gotten violent. There may very well be, though. A record of drug or alcohol abuse. So the weed thing would be problematic both times. 2 or more DUI convictions. So being committed to a mental institution or adjudged incompetent or mentally defective. I wonder what that process is, by the way. Having been issued a domestic violence injunction or injunction against repeat violence that is currently in force. So this is for concealed carry, by the way. This isn't, I don't know if these rules are the same for having a gun. Renouncement of U.S. citizenship. That's an interesting one. If I win the lottery, that was something we discussed because I have to pay taxes on my lottery. I have to pay taxes in the U.S. Now, I don't make enough to qualify to do that, but there's people that will renounce their citizenship in the UK, for example, Americans, if they come into quite a bit of money because they'd have to then pay tax to the UK and pay tax to the US. So not a whole hell of a lot. I think for me, I'd like to find out what, there's nothing in here about training on when or how to use it. Demonstrate competency with a firearm. And anybody who watches this can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm reading that as I can physically reload and shoot safely the weapon without harming me, or making sure the thing that I'm aiming it at is what I'm aiming it at. There's nothing in here about any sort of courses, and this could be very well the case. There could be courses that, intensive courses that show you how to make decisions on as and when to use the gun. But I don't know that that's the case. And I think that's the thing, that I could live with a concealed carry license if somebody had to do, let's say, 1 year of training. So the same amount of training you would need to undertake to get a pilot's license. And part of that, I'm not a pilot, but I know you have to take meteorology courses. You have to understand, how the airplane works. You have to understand decision making on when to, at what point do you abort takeoff, and at what point do you continue with it. There's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of profiling that goes into that. And I for me, that's the kind of thing I would like to see for gun ownership. Any gun ownership, not concealed carry. I don't feel good knowing that the Michael Dunns out there have guns and have only been trained how to shoot it. But I may be wrong about this. And if you're watching this and I'm way off base, please correct me. I'm not saying that this is the way forward. I'm saying if that's the case, then I have a problem with that.
I'm just asking, were you buzzing at all, or
No, I'm real. I have a pilot's license, and they're real.
Probably when I thought about that.
Sour on DUIs. I had a DUI when I was in my early 20s, late teens, and that one incident is still haunting me to this day. In that I went to Canada, and they got like a ID check type thing, and they asked me if I'd been arrested. Well, not since I was a kid. But in actuality, in 2003, I got pulled over for a traffic, and then they said, "Oh, you have a violation of probation," and I got arrested, and that was from the DUI when I was a kid. That
did it appear?
Well, down in the Keys, it's the Salvation Army that does that. So, long story short, when I moved to California, I came back in '94. I had trouble getting my license, because they said that I didn't complete my community service and all that stuff, so I called them. And they had everything in a paper file, they just hadn't entered it in the computer. And so the failure to appear was the last month or whatever, and they just didn't enter it into the computer. So it was a snafu, but I was in the jail for 5 days while they were trying to figure it out. But I guess what I'm trying to tell you is I'm real anal about not drinking.
All right. You made that mistake. You don't want to do it again.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Okay. Can I get you something to drink?
Yes, please. Water. To be honest.
Water? Okay.
Yes.
Well, give me a
I'd
minute.
like a
I'll be
straight
right back.
vodka,
Okay?
please. It'll probably be the last one that I'll ever have. I'm sure they're still making prison hooch. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, no, they're coming back.
All right. Just real quick, a couple things to clear up with you. What I would like to do is just part of doing a thorough investigation that we do. I would like to get possession of that firearm. Okay. So what I would like to do is, it's in your glove box of your car, correct? Which is inside your garage of your house. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I had my keys when I...
Yeah, they said you had the keys. What I would like to do is I have a consent to search form I do it for your house and your car, because your car is technically in your house. Okay, but what I'm going to look at obviously is retrieve the gun that's in your car. Your car is what I'm concerned with. I'm not going to start going through all the rooms of your house or anything like that. I don't care about that. I'll be straight honest with you. I'm just
I don't mind if you go through the house, just don't tear it up.
No, that's what I said. We don't do that, first of all. And I have no reason to think there's anything in the house. Okay, the gun's in your glove box. That's what I'm looking for. So that I don't have to go banging around looking for other stuff. But I want to go over this with you and have you read over and make sure you understand it first before you consent to it. Okay.
Make it.
So just.
Yeah, we'll fast forward through this.
You normally keep it fully loaded?
I keep the magazine loaded.
Fully,
but
not chambered, right. How much does the magazine, how many rounds does the magazine hold?
I think 15.
15? Okay, so it's a full size, is it a full size 9?
Yeah, it's just like a Beretta, but it's the Taurus. It's
Okay.
made on Beretta tooling.
Okay. Because I know they make all the different, you can get smaller versions, carry, the slimmer ones for inside. It's more of a, what color is it?
Nickel.
Nickel? Okay.
It's the only handgun in the glove box.
Okay.
I will say, guns look pretty fucking cool. And I did enjoy going and shooting shotgun. It was a double barrel shotgun. I don't know what kind it was. We did sort of Clay's. We went to this place. It wasn't too far from DC. It reminded me of a bit of a golf course as a golfer, because they had all these different areas where the skeet, I don't know if it's skeet, I sound like an idiot, but they had these different areas where you would push a button and then it would shoot one, and then a few seconds later shoot the other in two different directions or in the same direction. And you got in the position, you got ready, and I don't know if there was something on the floor or whether you had somebody with you push a button, and then you would fire and try to hit as many as you could. And I think you paid for the number of clays that you would shoot at. That was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed shooting. And when you look at a handgun, I can see, I think a lot of times you get people that just want to find a reason to use it. It's just a cool looking piece of kit. You know, it's nickel. It's a nice piece of metal. Anything that's metal and machined is awesome, forgetting what its function is for.
Do you remember when you purchased it, like you said, what, about 20 years ago? Is that what you said, early 90s?
Yeah.
You just get it
like 12, 13, I guess. Oh, no.
It's pushing
No,
20
it's not
years.
2000.
It's pushing 20 years.
Yeah, I had it before my daughter was born. She was 22, so yeah.
Okay. Is there, go ahead.
Do I need to get a lawyer? I mean, it sounds like I'm in deep shit.
Well, that is up to you. Okay, that is a decision for you. I cannot advise you on what you should and should not do. I know the guys have already talked to you. I'm assuming that they said they mentioned to you, but you know that you were arrested, correct? Did they tell you that? You're under arrest? Okay.
Maybe they did, but it's hard to hear when you have assault weapons pointed at you.
Okay. And the reason they're coming at you with assault weapons is because you had a warrant for your arrest. Okay. We have a warrant. Duval County issued a warrant for your arrest for murder and attempted murder. Okay. That's what you're being charged with right now. Okay.
Shit is hitting the fan.
Process. Okay. That's what it is. And
made some choices if you've been arrested for murder.
Decide how this goes. What he and I do is basically try to just gather all the facts of the case and present it to the state attorney, and the state, you know, all that thing rigmarole down the road with deciding, you know, where it goes from there.
They're just admin.
Okay. I'm not
trying to keep it very light.
I don't seem like a decent guy to me.
So they're trying to keep him talking, I think. I do like true crime. So I'm not, again, I want to be very clear. I'm not professing to be any sort of expert on anything, and I probably, to some people, sound like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But it's just, I think at this stage, he should be, so he's been at this for the better part of 50 minutes plus. So at about the point he was questioned initially, I mean, really, he should have said, look, I need to see a lawyer. This is some fucked up shit. And I want to make sure I'm communicating to you in the best possible way. Now, that's not how it comes across, you know, to the police. But if I was in that position, and let's say I made similar decisions, not that I would, and I think I said this on the last show, I would be saying, look, I want to make sure I'm communicating to you correctly and clearly. I don't want to misspeak and say something that might get me into prison. So I'd like to speak with a lawyer because I don't understand all of this stuff. And I think the police, from their perspective, are very, and I don't know if it's in the UK, the second I think you say lawyer or solicitor or something to that effect, they have to stop the interview and say, okay, well, do you want a solicitor? Yes or no? And I think the police are doing a good job of just saying, look, we're just here to, you know, we're admin. We're just here to take the information to give it to somebody else so they can deal with it. We don't have a dog in this fight, you know, whether you're guilty or innocent, we're just collecting information. So there's a bit of a redirection there, really, isn't it? They redirect him because they don't want him to lawyer up because they are going to cease to get information. I think beforehand, the reason they had him reading information was to go out and get information, or to get those photos, to get more of his views on what he is seeing, and getting more of his side of things on why the bullet holes are here and why is there something in the visor. They don't want him to lawyer up.
Believe me, you're much nicer than most of the people we end up talking to.
Yeah, so just really complimenting him, trying to win him over. You know, let's work together on this, pal.
Okay. But we just have to go on what we have, evidence-wise.
I understand.
Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to, that you think I should know about, that maybe I haven't asked you a question about, or?
Nothing that comes to mind. The only thing that I keep,
Wait. I was in fear for my life. That's my prediction here.
Hold on, before you
Hearing.
hold on 1 second. You mentioned earlier that you need a lawyer. Let's stop and get past that. You're not asking for a lawyer right now, right? Because if you are, then we got to stop talking to you. I want you.
I'm not asking.
I thought that was going to come to pass because that was a bit ambiguous, and I think he's saying, okay, we need to make sure that this is qualified so that your lawyer can't say, yeah, he asked for a lawyer and you didn't give it to him.
Asking for a lawyer so much now as I was asking for how. I mean,
Were you asking for advice?
Yeah. The way I see this was I was scared for my life,
Mhm.
and I fought back.
Mhm.
And you guys are seeing this as murder, and so I'm wondering maybe I should just shut up.
But before, that's what we
And
got to
that's,
get past.
remember
That's what we
the
got to
rights
get
I went
past
over?
before we continue to talk to you.
Yeah, so they've just I think they've just registered that Michael Dunn is starting to get wise to what he should be doing for himself. And I'm glad he didn't.
Rights went over and said, if you decide, you can stop at any time. Okay, that's your right, man. You can stop talking at any time if that.
But just for the mere fact that you mentioned that word in this room, for all of our sake, mine, all three of us, we want to make sure that you're not asking for a lawyer right now.
It's interesting how he worded that. We want to make sure you're not asking for a lawyer now. That's a direct. That's what do they call that? A leading question. Because it does. You kind of want to just say no, so that they can maybe move on. You know, I think they want to be very crystal clear so that they're not going down a route, you know, legally that they can't as interrogators. But it's interesting how he phrased that question.
Not right this second.
And the answer is not right this second.
Okay.
But probably in about 2.
Okay.
Okay, well, we're good. We're good enough anyway. We're good. We're
Because
not.
you don't want to violate your rights.
No.
Okay?
I understand. I appreciate it. What I was going to say is,
Wait. I was in fear for my life.
you know, it's too cheap to call them epithets. They were threats. The you're dead and you're dead, bitch. That's what keeps ringing through my mind, my head. Those were the words that freaked me the fuck out. To
Okay.
pardon them. And so that's where we're at. And
And this, unfortunately, I mean, this is where we're at right now. They'll process you here first, but I'm not sure how long it's going to take you before they got to go through all that kind of stuff. But you will be brought back to Duval County. Okay. And it goes, like I say, it goes from there.
Yeah, you're not going home.
And this, like I said, this is a
is
start.
there any opportunity to bail?
There's no bond.
No bond.
There's no bond on a murder charge in Duval County. Yeah, it's standard.
Yep. Reality is setting in.
They don't allow it.
Right. Is it automatic that it's a murder charge when it's self-defense?
I'll explain to you how it works on our end.
Uh-huh.
We do our investigation. We get our facts. We have a prosecutor from the state attorney's office with us who sees all the facts, sees the case. We confer with the state attorney's office, say these are what we have as facts of this case.
It's a very scary world we're living in if self-defense is governed by how someone feels. And there's a I guess let me just get this going here. Slippery slope alert here. So it's a slippery slope. I don't like using slippery slope, but when something as subjective as I feel threatened, I feel in fear of my life, just how I feel, I can then shoot and murder somebody and it's okay. That's highly problematic. And I think what the police are saying is the evidence actually says you weren't in threat. Nobody was physically coming after you. Nobody was in any way representing that you were in danger. even if and the detective here said if it was a water gun, we would be having a different conversation, because you could justifiably make the case that, yeah, this dumbass in Florida, where everybody and their mother has a gun, is brandishing a realistic looking a water gun that looks like a real gun. And yeah, I get that you were in fear for your life. There is a narrative there. Not even a narrative. There is some explanation. There's some justification. But if somebody's saying, I'm going to future tense do something to you, and the evidence shows that you hear that, just want to make sure this is clear. You reach over to your glove compartment, you get your gun, you unholster it, you load it. I don't know, load it. No idea. And then you turn around over your shoulder, you look, and you fire 7 bullets, I think it was to start, 6 maybe. And this is where self-defense, becomes aggression. So he has become the aggressor. He's not firing at somebody coming at him. So from his perspective, did he actually see a stick? Or is that something he's saying just to sort of absolve himself? I think that's the thing I find interesting in this is, was he shooting because he has anger management issues and he blacked out? Is he a bit on the racist side, which he may very well be? I think there's a very good chance of that. And thought, I'm just going to scare them by shooting into their door. Maybe you watch enough Lethal Weapon films. A car will protect you. A car door will protect you from a bullet. Or is he a cold-blooded murderer? I don't think he's a cold-blooded murderer. And I know he's not stupid. Although he's not really representing himself very well in this interview. But you can't just say, I feel threatened, and then it's okay to shoot somebody.
And they determined, yes, we believe there's enough to issue an arrest warrant at this point based off the evidence we have. Mm-hmm. And that's why we obtained an arrest warrant. Based off what we have. Okay. Now you also, just saying, that's why we need to come and talk to you and find out what your side is. Okay. But we just now did that. The past such and such, last night, this morning, we hadn't had that opportunity to speak with you.
And it hasn't gotten better. We've learned nothing to send you home.
Any other questions for me or anything I could try and answer for you? I'm going to go out. We're going to do...
if possible, I don't know if you'll let me now, but if possible, I'd like to use the restroom.
I'm sure we'll get the guys to arrange it for you. Absolutely.
All right. And then I really didn't know that I was being charged with murder and attempted murder. Mm-hmm. That sucks. I would like to talk to an attorney. I don't have one.
Okay. And what happens is if you don't, you'll go to, assuming here you'll go to court tomorrow, is what you do. They'll have you go to like a first appearance, basically, that you've been charged, and you'll be assigned at least a public defender to begin with. So they'll have counsel provided for you. Remember the rights I read you. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you.
Yes, I can afford an attorney. I just don't have one.
And you have time to make that decision.
I don't know any phone numbers. It's all in my phone.
But you'll be able to get ample time to figure that out.
So that's the interrogation video of Michael Dunn. I believe he does lawyer up from here, and we may go back and take a look at some of the testimony. Not sure if we're going to continue that far with it, because I think this is a fairly black and white case. What I will be doing next, it could be during the week. I'm not going to have a set schedule. I'm just going to be uploading. Part 3 will probably be the interrogation of his fiance who was there. And I've only heard maybe like 20-second snippets of it. And I thought, knowing the context of this, it's a lot more interesting to listen to her point of view, because I think she's been very honest throughout this whole thing. I think we can assess that what she's saying is fairly accurate to, and there is some level of, I guess there is some I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but her story will lose some connection with reality as she gets further away from the event. But her perspective is going to be very different than Michael's in the sense that a lot of what he's saying to represent he was in fear for his life and this was self-defense are not necessarily corroborated in what she is saying based on her interactions with Michael Dunn, her partner. I mean, we know that she was livid because she just wanted to go home, enjoy a bottle of wine with her fiance, not watch him shooting bullet holes in somebody's car as they drive off. And I believe, again, just to sort of revisit it ahead of the next stream, she made it clear he never said anything about a gun or a broom or a stick or even being, well, I think he said that I was in fear for my life. They were coming to get me and I shot them. I shot at the car. And I don't think they spoke about it after that. They ordered pizza. And then they drove back the next morning and didn't speak much of it. Which, if you put yourself in the position of somebody who has been attacked, not just attacked, but somebody attempted to murder you, and you think about leaving that situation, the adrenaline's running, you're maybe worried about their well-being to a degree. If you're somebody who's never shot anybody before, you want to make sure that your partner, and I have a wife, and she would be livid if she saw that. Well, she wouldn't be livid. She would be confused. And it would be incumbent upon myself to explain to her the exact reasons as to why I've done it and to lay out the situation. I find it interesting from her side of the story, and maybe this is where she's departing from being honest. Not much in the way of her interrogating him. Now, that could be down to their relationship. Maybe he's not somebody who's easy to live with, and this isn't something she feels she can ask him. But if it was my partner, and I think most of your partners, they would be saying, so why did you shoot the car? Why were you shooting your gun? What was happening? Why were you so threatened? What did they do? Did they get out of the car? Okay, were they coming? Did they have a gun? What made you think you had to shoot into the car? Because she knows the gun's in there. She has a good idea of how that process works. She was seeing him standing there shooting as they were, like Rambo as they were driving off. And, none of that was said. And if I was in fear for my life, it wouldn't even just be about protecting myself and getting away from the scene. But there's people, if he is such a do-gooder, there's people that have attempted to murder him that are now out in circulation. We need to call the cops. That is a big red flag. Call the cops. There's people that tried to murder me. Instead, no, I want to wait till I get home. Take care of my affairs. Have one last pizza. So really, a lot of what he's saying is more and more sounding like just a big load of shit. Because somebody tried to kill him, and he was only concerned about having his pizza and getting home to sort things out. He says near people that are familiar. What he means is away from relatives, away from where he's recognized. And that's got to have something to do with shame or embarrassment or guilt. So to me, that's an indicator that he knows he's done something wrong. And now he's had the last 12 to 24 hours to ingrain in his mind this narrative. It's sad. It's sad for the family. Actually, what I'm going to do, I haven't said the name of the young person who was killed. And I think that's disrespectful on my part. Jordan Russell Davis, he was 17 when he was murdered. 17. We were all stupid when we were 17. I'm sure Jordan was saying stupid things. But there's no way that he said anything that, justified him being shot. But that's the moral of the story here. So I find this case really interesting. So next time we are live, I don't know when that'll be. I'll try to give you a heads up if anybody does watch this. we'll be doing we'll be starting the first part of the wife's interrogation. I don't know how long that is. I think it's similarly an hour, and I think that's more interesting. So anyway, please like and subscribe. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will catch up with you on the next one. Take care.